Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Elements of Success. I'm your host, Talha Jarad. We are talking about negative emotions. We are talking about emotional intelligence, how to become more and more aware of our emotions so we can control them, and hence we can achieve more and succeed in life because we are more in control and more in charge of what happens to us, of our emotions and our plans. Now, we've spoken about procrastination, and we said that procrastination is one of the most dangerous feelings that people might have. It's just procrastination is just doing nothing. It's just delaying and postponing things for no reason, and delaying taking an action for no apparent reason. And this really has severe impact on the person and his ability to achieve in life, and also has impacts and effects on his entire achievement in life. For example, procrastination impacts the person and in terms of his stress level. The procrastinator usually has high level of stress and high level of anxiety. The reason is that because he delays things, he postpones them, and then what happens is that because he delays them, they pile up, and then he has to deal with them anyway, because delaying doing things does not mean that they will be taken care of them by themselves. So when you delay doing things, they just pile up, and then you have to end up doing them. So when you face this reality that you have to do a lot of things in a very short period of time, especially if you have deadlines, especially if you have to do things in a certain time frame, then you become stressed, you become anxious, and that impacts you a lot. And if the person does this on a frequent basis, that might impact even his physical body, because he's doing these things, exerting himself, extending and stretching himself out beyond his abilities all the time, and as a matter of fact, wasting also his time when he has free cycles, so that impacts him a lot and causes him to impact his body, his mental ability, and his health in general. So this is one of the impact of procrastination. Another impact of procrastination is unfinished business. You always have things that are not done. Now, we all have an urge in us to complete things. If we don't complete things, we feel void in our lives. And the person who's procrastinating and delaying things and not doing them always feels this void in his life because he's not finishing the things that are at his hand. So he's always having this feeling of not fully fulfilled about himself, his achievement, his life, and so on and so forth. This is why the Prophet said, Allah loves from the one of you if he does something to perfect it, to do it till it's done, it's taken care of fully, completely, to complete it and perfect it. Why? Because once you learn to be able to finish what you do, and you learn this habit and you always complete your tasks, it becomes a habit, and you build this habit in your life, and that makes you avoid being a procrastinator and being among those who delays things unnecessarily. Another thing that this leads to is incomplete life. If the person keeps delaying things and not doing it, he will always be behind and will not achieve in life what he's supposed to achieve. The Prophet told us that the smart one among you is the one who follows up with himself and works for the hereafter. But the disabled is the one who wishes, who just have wishes, and he wants Allah to give him this and that and this and that. This is not really the real life. So the point is that we have to be on top of our game, because unless you are on top of your game and you do things, and if you don't take an action about things, you delay them, they will pile up. As a matter of fact, Islam teaches us to do things on time, to take an action when things happen. For example, salah. You can't just delay salah. You have to do your prayer on time. When there is a time for noon prayer, then you have to go for noon prayer. And as a matter of fact, when the Prophet was asked about the best thing that the person could do, he said, praying on time. Why? He wants to teach us to be, to avoid being procrastinator and to be proactive. The best deed that you do is to pray on time. This is what the Prophet said. prayer on time, which means whenever the time for prayer starts, you immediately take an action, you pray. You just don't delay it till it's almost going to go, and then you just hurry up and just try to cook it quickly. No, you have to do it on time, ahead of the remainder of the time, and you just do it and learn how to be proactive and how to take an action immediately when something happens. And this is really a characteristic that Islam builds in us to make us proactive, to make us take an action immediately when things happen. And we can compare this to anything else in our lives. Whenever you have something, just take an action. Just do it. Do not delay things. Do not postpone them. Especially your goals, your vision, your mission, your plans. If you delay and delay and delay, you will never have any goals and plans, because life is always filled of things that gets you dragged left and right. And unless you plan yourself and you avoid this procrastination, you get entrapped. This is another thing. It has its also impact on health side and personal injuries. For example, if somebody, let's say you have an appointment in 10-15 minutes, and instead of going and on time and having the time to go and arrive on time, and you delay, you just go 3-4 minutes before it, you might hurry up, you might probably go by car, you might run, and then you might not pay attention to things, and an injury might occur to you just because you delayed, you didn't take an action. And this is very, very important to know, that some little things that we don't pay attention to might impact our health, might even cause us injuries, and they all started with little things that we didn't take an action when we needed to take an action. We didn't do what we're supposed to do on time, so that caused us to delay things and so on and so forth. For example, if let's say somebody has a problem in his car, let's say his brakes are not functioning properly. Now, if he just postpone it and procrastinate about it and says, okay, I'm going to deal with it later, it might get worse and worse and worse. And all of a sudden, he might get in a situation where he needs his brakes to be at the best status, and he tries to use them, but it doesn't work. And then God forbid, he might get in an accident that impacts his entire life. So this is the importance of these things. The other impact of procrastination is what we call the downward spiral of disappointment. You know, the procrastinator, because he doesn't achieve, he feels anxious, he feels stressed, so he also that leads him to procrastinate more, and then that makes him feel more and more anxious, and so on and so forth. So he goes in a downward spiral, and it's just a start because he didn't take an action on a simple thing, but becomes later on as part of his life, and then he loses his entire proactivity and his entire energy. And finally, the person, one of the impacts of procrastination is that the person loses people's respect. People do not respect those who are procrastinators. They do not give them tasks. They don't give them promotions. They don't give them really the due respects, because people think simply, well, if this person does not respect himself to do things appropriately, how would you want me to respect him from my side and give him more tasks, give him more things to do? So you see, you have to be careful about this, because the impact is really very severe. So we have to cure ourselves from this procrastination. We have to think all of the time how to get ourselves out of the situation of procrastination. Now, one of the things, of course, is knowledge. When you know about procrastination and its impact on you, and its impact on your health, its impact on your level of respect from people, its impact on so many different things in life, then at least now you start to be careful about it and you start to avoid it. Once you are aware of it, that's the first step to change, is to know the impact, is to know what needs to be done, to know the tools. And this is what we're doing in this program, is we're sharing the tools, the techniques, and what you need to know, so at least you become more and more aware. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, those who fear Allah the most are the scholars, because they know more, so that leads them to then fear Allah more. Make sure that you know how to be more firm with yourself and take an action. Just simply take an action. Let's start with your prayer. Just teach yourself, whenever it's time for a prayer, and the call goes out for a prayer, just go immediately and just pray on time. Learn doing this, and you will save half of your problems, and you will start learning something very important, which is to take an action about things that happen in your life. This is really very important. Do not delay things, especially when it comes to your worship. Especially when it is something related to your relationship with Allah. Learn to take an action, to have strong determination, to have the will, and just do it. Remember, this is a habit. You learned it because of so many things that led you to do this over and over and became part of your life. But you can change. You can change this habit. And as it is now part of your system, I think it's impossible to change. You can change this thing, and you can unlearn this bad habit and learn a new good habit of being proactive, being firm, being among those people who take action immediately. You also, one of the things that help you get out of this procrastination is to pray to Allah to help you to get out of it. Remember, the Prophet taught us to ask Allah for anything that we want. And even in Quran, Allah said, pray to me and ask me, I will answer you. So this is open for anything. And as we said before, the Prophet also taught us to ask Allah for help to get over our disability, our inability, our laziness, our sorrow, our sadness, and so on. So this is one of the things. You ask Allah to help you to get over it, to ask Allah to give you the support so you can start changing yourself, and you can start doing the things that you are supposed to do to achieve more in life. Because if you live in this procrastination, you will never achieve in life. You will never be able to get things done just because you get caught on these concepts of postponing and delaying things under so many different reasons and trying to convince yourself with the validity of these reasons, but you don't achieve anything. At the end of the day, the procrastinator doesn't achieve anything. Now, one of the things that also are very important is, if you have companions, if you have friends that are procrastinators, you have to take an action. Do not say they are long-timers. Do not say, well, they crack me with jokes, they are my friends, this and that. If they do not help you to improve yourself, make sure that you change them. Yes, I know this is a strong word, but change them. Change them. And make sure that you take an action, because if you just leave it rolling like this, those people will impact you and will create this kind of negativity inside your life. And finally, make sure that you have your plans, you have your vision, you have your mission, and look at it on a daily, weekly, monthly, and annual basis, and look at them and see. You have a lot of things to achieve, so you don't have time to delay the little things. Have a mission, have a plan, have your vision in life very cleared out to you, and always look at it, and always take an action every day to do something to get you closer to your goals and to your vision and to achieve your mission in life. Have this in mind and go ahead. With the help of Allah, you will achieve this and more, and you will achieve the maximum in life in the hereafter. Thank you for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.